All right, we're live at Black Tech Week in Cincinnati, Ohio. So tell people what your name is and who you are.
Hello, I'm James Norman, CEO of Pilotly and general partner at Black Ops.
All right, could you explain what Pilotly is and Black Ops is? Break it down.
Sure. Pilotly is the first market research platform built specifically for creative content. So we test TV shows, films. I'm sure you watched something that went through Pilotly. And Black Ops is the first fund built for and by Black founders. So we're super excited about what we're doing there, and that kind of all came to fruition through one other project that still runs today, which is called Transparent Collective. It's a pre-accelerator, really boot camp for people of color to help them scale their companies.
All right, so so you are in the VC space and investing in different companies. So what are some things that entrepreneurs starting their business should think about when they're trying to position themselves to get an investment from an angel investor or a venture company?
Yeah, I mean, getting money from angel investors is different. It's just that's like an extended family type fund type situation in a lot of cases. There's super angels out there who are $100,000 checks, but overwhelmingly, an angel investor just really wants to see you win. That's someone who you have a personal relationship with, or maybe you got introduction from someone who really knows them, who's excited about what you're doing and just wants to be involved. That person wants to. I mean, they all want to be at the golf course and be like, I invested in this company, but that person, that's the social capital for them, and it's part of their portfolio, their personal investment portfolio. So, they're going to take that flyer on it and see what happens. But on the VC side of it, VC is a different game, and you have to be on board for how it works. You can get some smaller VC money, and it can be really supportive and help you grow a business that maybe make a $20, $30, $40 million business, and that's a good win for them. It's a win for you. But venture capital at large, you talking about pitching Silicon Valley and stuff, it's a different ball game. And if we're speaking specifically about Black folks, we gotta be in the mindset of we're gonna build something that's worth $1 billion, and that's not something you can really plan for, but you have to be in a market where that's possible, and you have to be building like tomorrow doesn't exist. If someone, so I give you $500,000, I give you $1 million, you have to see you have to know what are the most efficient ways I can spend that money, and get to the next milestone and get more money. You're never done raising money if you're really building a VC-backed company. That's your cycle. And so you have to be bought into that. You have to be bought into the idea that you might not have time to figure out how to make that thing profitable. As long as it's scaling, though, and the metrics on which you're raising exist, you're scaling those, you keep raising money, and eventually it'll come around. But it's a really funny game to play, because once you're in that cycle, you're in the cycle, right?
All right, now I have one last question for you. So what is the mindset of a VC when they're looking at a company that is pre-revenue versus a company that already is generating revenue?
That's a good question. So again, we talked about in this room how it's all about the story. It's all about the story, right? So once you get those metrics in there, if you just try and lead with those metrics as this is where I'm at, and if you give me some money, I'll be here, you're not going to convert most of the time, because your metrics aren't actually that impressive most of the time. So if you got a company and you're early stage and you got 10,000 users, it sounds good to you because you had 0 users before. These fools will see people with companies with 100,000 users or 1 million users. So it's not as impressive. It shows that what you have actually exists and works, but it's not the converting factor as to why I should give you money. And so the difference is really sometimes, if you're good enough at the storytelling, you're better off without a product. And it sounds crazy. I would never tell anybody that before, but your storytelling has to be fire, though. And if you get it right, they'll be like, I need this to exist in the world, and I want to be with you to build it. Because once you have metrics, your storytelling also still has to be fire, but you might not even want to show some of your metrics, because certain metrics will allow people to put you in a box. If I tell you I make this much money from this many customers, and that amount of money is not tremendous, I can decide, well, there's only this many customers in the universe, so I'm going to take that same number, do the multiplication, and if that number comes out below billions of dollars, I just be like, this isn't a big market. I need to see more traction. There's all these excuses that come into play, right? But when you don't have anything, it's the same thing in Hollywood. Say you're going to make a TV show. Right. You go to pitch a TV show and you already shot it, fully post-produced and all that, you think you've done something. This looks dope, blah, 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 blah. But if you're not Kenya Barris and you haven't already shot shows before and you're not a showrunner, they're going to be like, great, what are you going to do with this show? I'm not part of that story, right? That means the person you're pitching is no longer part of that story. You already finished it. And so, like, when the stuff's not finished, you can paint a picture of how someone's part of a story that they would love to be a part of. It's all storytelling, because at the earliest stage, no matter where you're at, unless it's like something wildly like unicorn, edge case, tremendous, it's that where you're at is not enough. It's all about where you could be, right? So like when you're pitching it, I want to hear about where you're at a little bit, but I'm really talking about where we're gonna go. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So let's say somebody did $100,000 in revenue, which is may not be. Yeah, it sounds dope to someone who isn't in the VC space,
Right.
but it's better to go in there. You're saying to sell the story,
Right.
why you're going to be the next $1 billion XYZ or whatever.
Right.
What's your what differentiates you from your competitors or whatever compared to going in and saying, hey, we made $100,000 in revenue or we made $100,000 in profit, because it's like, well, that's not that much.
That's cool, but like, where are we going next? You know what I'm saying? So like when you're telling that story, and you're like, so today, up over the past 8 months, we've done $100,000, and it's been this month-over-month growth. But moving forward, we're excited to do this. Like you're leaning in. You're telling people where you came from, but you're really leaning in on where you're going, and the people that's going to be around you that help you do that. So if you paint the picture with the people in it, then like they can decide if they want to be in the story. If you don't do that, if you just talk about what you're doing, who you are, what's going on with you, and you're not saying, well, with the right partner and based on the experience you have, we put that together, we're going to do X, Y, Z. Like, how are we going to partner on this? You know what I'm saying?
Right. That makes a lot of sense.
You're not trying to prove yourself. Black people still used to try and prove themselves.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, man. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Just tell everyone how they can contact you, how they can follow your firm or whatever you got going on.
Yeah, I'm on Twitter. It's Motown INI. Black Ops VC is on Twitter and all that. And transparentcollective.com is how you can get involved with the nonprofit program. And we fund a lot of companies that come out of Transparent because it's some of the top Black people, building tech companies.
All right, man. I appreciate it. We're live at Black Tech Week in Cincinnati, Ohio.